If someone told you that your browsing history, streaming habits, and even your grocery receipts could earn you money, real tangible money, would you believe it? I didn't at first, but in the last 3 months, I've pocketed just over $100 by legally selling my personal data. No shady apps, no identity theft, not even my name tied to the transaction. Just a few smart opt-ins, patience, and an eye-opening journey into an economy most of us thought was only for big tech firms. Every click has a price tag, even if you don't know it yet. Picture this: every time you search for best lasagna recipe, scroll social media, or click on an ad, you're generating data. That data is gathered, formatted, and sold, not to you, but to advertisers, researchers, and analysts who use it to predict your next move. It's the currency of the digital age, and the kicker? You're not getting paid for it. I was giving it away, completely free, until one evening I stumbled on a thread in a surprisingly lively corner of Reddit. Someone posted that they'd earned $15 in a single month just by sharing their Amazon purchase data. It sounded too good to be true, but the replies told a story of anonymous browser tracking platforms, purchase history apps, even finance tools that would pay small sums for your permission to collect anonymized snapshots of your behavior. That spark of curiosity turned into an experiment. What if I actually got paid for the data I produce every single day? Dipping my toes into the data marketplace. Within a week, I had created accounts on several data monetization platforms. One of them tracked my browsing habits, every tab, every search, every site I visited. Another asked for permission to scan my Amazon and Google purchase records. A third linked up with my finance app usage to share anonymized spending patterns. None of them asked for my name, password, or anything personally identifying. Once everything was configured, it just sat there quietly in the background. I browsed for holiday recipes, rewatched TV shows, bought some birthday presents, and that was all it took. Each platform would bundle the data I permitted, bundle it up with thousands of others' anonymous traces, and sell it as part of a bigger data set to marketers and researchers. And every now and then I'd get a notification. A PayPal deposit, a gift card credit, a small payout. Nothing earth-shattering, but when it started adding up, I began paying attention. Watching the numbers slowly roll in. Over 3 months, the results surprised me. One platform, linking browsing and location history, paid $41. Another offering gift card points for regular site visits added $32. A finance app data trade yielded $13, and a mobile usage tracker chipped in $17. All told, that was $103 in my pocket, just by allowing a few companies to collect anonymized snapshots of my digital behavior. It wasn't a fortune, not life-changing, but it was profoundly satisfying. Each deposit felt like a small triumph, a micro-rebellion against the global giants hoovering up our data day in and day out. For years, I had unwittingly contributed to the digital gold mine. For the first time ever, I was getting paid for it. The psychological alchemy of micropayments. There's something strangely empowering about turning something intangible, your digital shadow, into cash. Every time I received a $5 or $10 credit, it shifted my perspective. Suddenly, every click, scroll, and search felt more deliberate. I wasn't just mindlessly consuming content, I was creating value for myself. That shift in mindset is powerful. It wasn't just the money, it was the knowledge that if my data could be sold, then I deserved a cut. It felt subversive, even a little poetic. Big tech had spent years using our data as currency. I was flipping the script. What this means for you and the internet as we know it. My 3-month experiment lit a spark, but it also sparked bigger questions. If you could earn $100 for 3 months of passive anonymized data, what about $500 or $5,000? So many unexpected ideas flooded in. What if you could monetize just your fitness tracker data or your smart home thermostat stats? What if entire online communities banded together to aggregate their data and negotiate higher payouts? Could governments offer a universal data income for everyone who opts in to de-identify data sharing? What I realize is that data really is the oil of the 21st century. The difference is, you don't need to work for a data company to profit from it. The power can shift back into the hands of individuals, and once people realize that, every action online has economic value. The whole dynamic can change. Proceed with curiosity, but caution too. I'm no evangelist trying to recruit you into some data sharing cult, but there is a different path if you choose it. If you're curious enough to dip your toes in, here's what I've learned. First, choose platforms that value anonymity. None of the ones I tried asked for personal details beyond email and browser access. They want patterns, not passports. Second, read every privacy policy. Biggest purple link wise advice ever, but it's real. Know what data you're sharing, how it's protected, and with whom it's shared. Third, manage expectations. Most people make only $5 to $20 a month. The $100 figure I hit over 90 days is above average for casual users. Fourth, treat it like a slow drip, not a salary. It's side money, not main income. Finally, keep your data sharing accounts organized, perhaps with a separate email, and occasionally audit what's running in the background. Your data, are you the owner or just the product? Here's a hard truth. Your data is already being collected. That's not speculation, that's the business model of big tech. The only question is, who's profiting? For years, it was entirely them. By opting in to get paid for anonymized data, I didn't give away my identity, my contacts, or my private messages. I simply allowed my parallel anonymized profile to become part of a larger data mosaic worth money to marketers, researchers, and analytics firms. And so I ask, if your information is being commodified, do you want to be the product or the seller? In my case, I'd rather take the sale. The bigger picture, a shift toward consumer-first data. This could mark the beginning of a sea of change. As more people demand a piece of the data pie, companies will have to respond. We could see apps paying users directly for their behavioral footprints, marketplace platforms allowing users to bundle and sell their own micro datasets, legislative action to regulate data sharing and mandate compensation, an entire industry around data cooperatives, where groups of users pool their anonymized data to negotiate better terms. Imagine a future where opting in earns you a monthly data dividend. A small shift in how we view data could ripple across entire industries, and it all starts with people like you and me, deciding our browsing habits aren't valueless. Beyond the money, a personal transformation. The most unexpected outcome wasn't the extra $100, it was a confidence. I began logging into my accounts to check earnings. I audited which sites I visited most. I became more aware of every click. It encouraged me to think about consent and privacy in new ways, about how data shapes online experiences, about the enormous value hiding in plain sight, the value that belonged to me all along. Could you do it too? Absolutely. You don't need tech wizardry. You don't need to share your deepest secrets, just a willingness to try something different and patience to let it grow. If you're already online, you're producing data. Why not let it work for you? Set up 1 or 2 platforms, let them run in the background. Check back in a few weeks, you'll likely see a few dollars, and after a few months, you might see something that surprises you. Writing the next chapter. So here's a final thought. If I can make $100 selling my data legally, anonymously, over 3 months, why shouldn't anyone? Why shouldn't you? We talk about digital privacy, about surveillance capital, about data leaks, but rarely do we talk about monetization by the consumer. That might sound like a niche side hustle, but when enough people want a seat at the table, everything changes. If curiosity brought you here, stay curious. Try it out. See what unfolds in your own data stream. You might not get rich, but you'll learn how much your data is worth. And more importantly, you'll get something even more valuable, the realization that your digital self belongs to you. So that's the story of how I made my first $100 from clicks, scrolls, and searches I was already doing anyway, all by shifting the rules in my favor. If you're even half as curious, just take that first step, because nothing changes until someone decides to own their value, and maybe get paid for it. If you want to know of more ways to make money online, make sure to check our other videos. We'll see you in the next one.